Hello everyone! Welcome back to another video. I'm so excited for this one because it's going to be a basic dip application. As some of you may have known, I've actually released my newest collection, the Tawny Nude collection, and it has 6 beautiful shades in it, and this one I'm going to be using the shade Paprika. Because it is just so pretty. It's such like a really nice orange. And I have my beautiful assistant, Hand Solo, helping me out today. And I just put in some nail tips to kind of indicate what it's like to have it on the actual nails and each step for each individual thing. The reason I am not doing it on my nails is because I already have a set on them because I got too excited and put nails back on myself because I'm too impatient. But this is the base coat that we're going to be using today. If you are interested in getting my kit, it comes with everything. Like everything you possibly need to actually make a set of nails and what have you, it's all in there. So we have my little top coat there, we have the base coat, we have the bonder. I'm going to call it the bonder, but it's also called the activator, which is going to just harden all of the acrylic. And the first thing we're going to do before anything else is you're going to take your cuticle pusher, orange wood stick, whatever it is, and you're going to push back the cuticles. Curly, she does not have any cuticles, but I'm just indicating what it is like so that you can kind of get an idea from start to finish how we're going to do this. So pushing back the cuticles, this is a really important step. I think a lot of people don't think about this step when doing nails because they're like, oh, it's fine, it'll go over top. But if you have all this dead skin hanging around and you're not taking care of it properly, you're not gonna get the best adhesion, and your like dip powder is gonna come off and you're gonna have a lot of lifting really quickly, so not ideal. So as you can see here, I'm kind of indicating pulling the skin back, because one thing you really want to do when you're buffing is pulling the skin away from the sides of your nails so you can really get in there and buff very close to the source of your nail, so right to the edge of the cuticle. In the kit that I give you, I'm actually providing a mini buffer and a mini file. It actually gets it a little bit easier than the big buffer that I use, but that buffer I have is specifically meant for the nail tip, so I just use that one because it's easier. And you're going to take the shine off of the whole surface of the nail, making sure that you're really getting into that cuticle area and removing all shine, because if you don't have the shine removed, then you're going to get lifting. So I just sped up this process because like you don't need to watch the whole dang thing. Like it's buffing. it's not super stressful. But yeah, obviously my nail tips are moving around in Han Solo's hand because it's not secure, but you know. So really making sure you're taking your time, you're fully going through, like lift your hand up and move your hand to the light. If you see any shiny bits, remove it. And it's just good to kind of have good lighting while you're working. And what I would even suggest, just to protect yourself, it's called the dip flu, is I would really suggest wearing a mask during this whole like process of dusting and adding dip and all that other kind of stuff, because it's going to really help protect your lungs. It's going to help a lot. Now, one thing you can do if you want to really ensure ultimate adhesion is you are going to for sure do the alcohol wipe. I suggest doing this any which way, but I have several different products that I like to use quite often. It's called like nail prep or dehydrator or all that other kind of stuff. My favorite product ever to really just make things stick, because especially if you're prone to things like lifting, getting those little air pockets underneath your nails, I have very oily nail beds. And so my nails, no matter what, will come off. Like, they just do, because I also have a bad habit of picking at them, but that's just me, and I'm terrible with my nails. But using my favorite primer, you can use that. You can get it from online, from Amazon, is the Protein Bond from Young Nails. It's a bit more expensive, I will say that, but a little bottle lasts you for a very long time, and is basically creating a very nice sticky layer that will help the dip adhere even better. This is also going to help, you know, give strength to your nails, because it's not acid-based. So this is my dip powder called Paprika. That was just such a cute name for it, because it just makes me think of the little paprika topping on top of little deviled eggs. This is the name that came to mind, so I was like, this is perfect. And we are going to be doing the base application. When you are doing, oh, pardon me, removing my base there and destroying my little work surface. One thing you need to keep in mind when applying glue is that a lot of people get way too liberal with the glue. And then they just slop it on there and they think they're good to go. You need to be so careful with base application, because if you are really careful and you do all your work at the beginning, like during the process of this, you're going to save yourself so much filing time, and it's going to be such an easy peasy process. And you could see there that I left quite a big gap between like the cuticle and where my base is, because I wanted to keep it there on purpose, because we want the cuticle area to be a little bit thinner and not as chunky, because it's going to save you some filing time. I would recommend buying a clear. This is just my personal opinion, just because with a lot of color applications, you have to be careful, because when you're filing, you have a very high probability of actually removing color. If you do not have access to clear, you did not buy clear with the kit, that is totally a-okay. Not everyone thinks to get that. Just make sure that you are applying right to the cuticle, right from the get-go. You're not doing this, like, you know, this spaced out application that I'm doing, because it's going to make things a little bit thicker on the cuticle, but you don't have to worry about as much color loss. Even if you do happen to file off color, it's okay. You can always just, you know, take it, wipe most of the base off of your brush, and then just put a little tiny little bit of glue over that area, and then dip again, and then kind of very gently buffer over top of it once it's activated and dry, and that's going to help put color back on those spots again. So you can see here I'm actually dipping multiple times. The reason that I do this is because you're going to get a much thicker, not necessarily thicker, but a more opaque application of the powder, because you have all that remaining glue, because with the glue on the surface of the nail, you can see where it gets to the dark spots there. That's glue soaking through the powder, and I will dunk it again so that it gets a really nice full coverage when I'm doing it. So with certain colors that I'm providing in my kits, you have different degrees of sheerness with each color. And the nice thing about it is that you can decide how much you want to build up your color. You can keep it quite sheer if you'd like, or you can go and be quite dark with it. Just keep in mind that the more you layer it, the thicker your nails are going to be, and not everyone necessarily wants that. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. So I'm dipping multiple times, and the second time around, I'm going right close to the cuticle. I am going to be doing a clear top coat, like a clear third layer, just to really make sure everything stays properly covered the way that I'd like it to. But with just the color application, when you're applying it, if you smudge it, like the reason I suggest dipping at a 90-degree angle, just putting it at 90 degree, I'm having a brain fart right now. You want to dip it at an angle. The reason you want to do this is because you're not going to have as much risk of tapping your nail at the bottom of the jar and smudging the tip. If you do, it is okay, because it happens. Like, things like that happen all the time. Just make sure that while it's still wet, you kind of smush it down a little bit and shape it back into place before dipping again, just to make sure that you get full coverage and you're not having little bits sticking around for no reason. So one thing I would suggest too is if you're getting near the end of your jar, there's a few different options. You can simply save it, and then when you get your next jar, you just add the leftovers from the first jar and then put it into your next jar, because there's always going to be a tiny little bit of space that you can do that. Alternatively, you can also put it into a shallow dish, like a small shallower dish. You're going to see what I mean when I do the clear coat, but it's actually a really awesome dipping powder system from the nail prop shop, because I got a bunch of stuff from them for dipping, and it's a great way to use your last little bit of powder. You can also do the pour method, which is like a great option if you don't have that much powder left. So you can see I was playing with a little cuticle pusher there. I was actually going around the edges of my cuticles because I really wanted to make sure that they're super clean and put together. I'm pretty good with my base application, so I don't tend to do it that much. But for those of you who are just starting and who don't know how to do it as well, or they're just starting out, like, I would really suggest sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I would really suggest taking your cuticle pusher and going around those cuticles just to make extra sure that they're really clean and it's super duper easy to manage. So that's my little dish I was talking about before. I'm like awkwardly trying to dip it. I'm used to doing this with my own finger so I can like bend it in a different way, but with the hand it's just like super ako taco trying to like place it in a strategic manner, so I struggled with that for a little bit, but I ended up deciding to just kind of more so go with like the pour method because it was just so much easier for myself in the end because I was struggling with the hand. So I have done the first 2 fingers already after a bit of struggle, so I'm going to be doing the third one. I'm kind of just placing the nail over top, and I'm going to pour with a little, I just got this little teaspoon thing. It's like a quarter teaspoon or something from the dollar store. You can get like a whole set of them. And I just put that, the base over top there. And then I'm going to apply the clear. When you're applying the base, you're going to apply it in very, very nice thin layers. And you're going to get a nice even coverage, but you want to make sure that you're getting right to the sidewalls and right to the edges because otherwise you're not going to get the surface coverage you want and you're going to have gaps either in your color or in your sealing layer, which is not ideal because then it looks lumpy and bumpy and kind of gross. So just be very careful when applying, but make sure that you have a good speed to it because otherwise your glue is going to dry on you and you're going to be like, oh darn, well, guess no powder's going on now. Honestly, everything comes with time. You're going to learn how to do it as you go. It's not going to be the scary thing, but dip is so easy once you get the hang of it, and it's absolutely 100% my favorite method of doing it because it doesn't have the smell of acrylic, but it still has the strength behind it, and it's not as weird or annoying to deal with as gel. I personally am an acrylic queen. I love me some acrylic because it has so much options in regards to colors and like different workability and all that kind of stuff. Where gel, I just find gel a little bit boring personally, but you know, I know all the gel queens are going to start like attacking me, being like, no, gel's the best, but I have appreciation for gel. I think I'm just bitter because I'm not, like, I can do it. I'm just not great at it, you know? I don't have the patience for it because it just gets everywhere, and I just like how acrylic kind of just is easily formable and you can just do it, but my partner does not like the smell of acrylic, so I'm sparing his poor nose. So we're doing activator now, or as I call it, bonder. The bottles have really convenient names plastered across so you cannot get them mixed up, but we're going to apply it extremely liberally. Do not be light on the bonder. Please don't, because if you are missing patches, you can always go back in if you're seeing like a light patch that you might have missed, but I would much rather you go too heavy than not have enough. And you have to make sure that you allow it to really fully dry the 2 minutes. I'm bad for that. I kind of just went right in. So do as I say, not as I do. But I am taking my mini file here and I am completely, like, I'm shaping it. The shape should already be pretty much there, especially if you're using tips or whatever, and if you filed your nails at the beginning. But we're going to be doing a whole bunch of filing at the top, and you're going to make sure that you're really covering your edges and getting around the cuticle area. I really sped this up because it just takes so long to file itself. I personally use an e-file because otherwise I would get hardcore, you know, what's that called? Arthritis? No, I'm blanking so hard on the name of it right now, but you know what I mean. I would just get really bad pain in my wrist, and I don't really intend on having that because I do nails at least once a day, sometimes for hours upon hours a day, and I just need to protect myself, so having an electric file is easy. You can find some really inexpensive ones on Amazon. You don't really have to invest in these super crazy expensive ones. I have kind of a mid-range one. It's like a $99 one from Cosmoprof because I have an esthetician license, and it's been lasting me for years. So you can see here I'm pointing out little dark spots. Those are spots that have not been filed. You can feel the surface of your nail as you kind of go along, and you can kind of just feel where it's feeling kind of lumpy and bumpy. But trust me, I would much rather you spend more time on the filing and really, really get it nice, because if you're lazy with it, you're gonna feel bumps in your nail, and that is going to bug the absolute crap out of you. I will guarantee it. I'll sit there and just feel the surface of my nail and like hate everything that's happening at the moment because I'm like, oh, it's so bumpy and I can feel it, and I'm just very much a texture person. So just take the time, do the filing, and if you're scared about doing electric filing, if you guys want me to do a little tutorial on how to do electric filing at home, which is with an inexpensive Amazon file, I can do that for you guys, because it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be scary, because especially if you do it right, you're not going to hurt yourself, I can promise you. Now, moving on to the last part of this process, it's actually super duper duper easy. With this, I'm using the Rapid Dry top coat, and you are going to need to double coat, sometimes triple coat, depending on how it is. Now, I am super used to working with gel top coats, so I forgot to buff before I did this because we used a rougher file, because when you're doing a gel top coat, you need a very rough surface for the gel to be able to adhere to, so I completely missed the buffing part. But, like, it doesn't look bad, it just soaks in more and it doesn't leave as nice of a finish. So if you're doing the regular top coat that is provided in my kit, please, 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 please make sure that you buff the surface of the nail very nice and smooth before applying the Rapid Dry top coat. This is going to save yourself a lot of heartache, and it's going to give you the best results. I did not give you the regular top coat that comes with all the liquids, that comes usually with dip powder, because it's crap. I've been doing it for a long time. Like, some people can really get like the perfect amount of it. I like the quicker solution, and having to like activate things twice and then buff it and then activate it and then like do all these extra steps just for it to work out, and then you have to wait like 3 to 5 minutes in between each thing. I don't have time for that. Like, usually just want to slap gel on there and go. And you can get really inexpensive, both shiny and matte top coats off of Amazon for a really good price. And I'll even link some if you guys want. But I just want to show you the top coat because this is what comes with the kit. I decided to just provide a mini top coat, and then you guys can kind of decide what method you generally prefer in regards to top coats. This Rapid Dry is a fantastic regular polish top coat because it dries so freaking quickly. So you don't even have to really wait. Like, I suggested my written instructions on my website to wait for like 10 or so minutes just to be really sure. But with this particular Rapid Dry, it dries so much faster than that. Like, it's such a quick thing. This is just my first coat. It's getting kind of like bleh there, so I needed to go over it again because it was getting kind of weird. But you can see here that it's soaking into the surface of the dip powder, and so I really want to make sure that I'm getting a nice big amount of top coat on there to provide a beautiful shiny finish. Now, matte and shiny top coat, I hear pretty much the same when it comes to gel. One thing I'd really suggest, especially if you are looking on Amazon, is to really look for the no wipe type of top coat, just because it's going to be a lot easier and you're not going to have to deal with things as much. It's not as big of a deal when you're doing a plain color like this, but if you're doing more designs like I will be showing you guys in the next couple tutorials, then I really suggest doing no wipe, because there's always the risk, especially if you're doing stamping, if you're doing nail polish decals, if you've missed a spot and you have to wipe off, or you didn't like apply it properly and you have to wipe off the remaining sticky surface of just regular top coat, there's a huge chance you can wipe away any type of design that you've done. On average, I still recommend people to do 2 coats of top coat, no matter what kind of top coat it is. For this regular top coat, I would suggest 3 times, but with the gel, I would suggest 2, because there's going to be edges you've missed, there's going to be sections that you want to go over again and really ensure that you get nice. Like, it's just, there's a lot involved in it, and I would really suggest taking the time to do the 2 top coats. So we're just finishing up the polishing here. I hope this worked out for you guys. If you have any further questions, or if I missed anything, because I know that I can just tend to blather on without realizing what I'm doing. So if you guys have any particular questions or concerns, or are just really, really frustrated with what's going on, please send me a message. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'm super happy to help you guys out. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped. Alright, have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye!